What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and the message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. Also, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and you can call in at any point by calling 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773, and we can talk about whatever you want. All in the name of Jesus, I'm here for it. If you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV. The link is in the description on YouTube, or go directly to the YouTube live chat. Hit the super chat button, send your question or comments there. I'll read them live on air. Amazing stuff. Let's get into it. Shout out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, IG. We're live all across the board. So welcome to the new viewers. And what's up, y'all, to the reoccurring. Amazing stuff. How'd you guys like my Yeshua intro? So good. So good. Praise God. We're going to get back into that and why I played that later in the show today. But I want to talk a little bit about God's love. King Wesley, everyone hit those hearts on the bottom right to help him get more views. That's right, King Wesley. Hold it down. Appreciate it. Right on. King of Kings. Yeshua is King of Kings. That's right, CG. Amazing stuff. Nugget Man says, what's the difference between a Phillip and Robertson screwdriver? Yo, mama. That's the difference. Cool. So, a lot of the times, maybe, I don't know if this applies to everyone, but a lot of the times we forget that God has, that unconditional type of love. And sometimes we think when we do bad things or when we don't walk the straight and narrow path, or we consciously know that what we're doing is off track, but we like it, so we continue to do it. And then oftentimes we'll look at ourselves as evil and I'm wicked, and we'll fall into the whole judgment cycle, right? But I just want to throw out a reminder, in case you didn't know, that God is not looking at that. He loves you, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because I realized that what's it like to have God's love in return to other people, right? Like, what's that like, and how does He do it? And how does He do it? Right? And I also realized that it's very easy to get caught up in judging. Oh my gosh. It is so easy to get caught up in judging, right? Judging right and wrong. And you can do it and not realize it, and then you can be calling it discernment. You know what I mean? I'm discerning. But we're really judging. Right? And so back to the love thing is that the reason why God loves us, I realize, is because He understands. He understands. He understands why we do the things we do. And mind you, my voice is going out, so I might what do you call that thing when it goes voice crack? Yeah, my voice is gonna crack. Thank you, Omi. My voice is gonna crack a lot. It might. So it's because my voice is kind of going out. But anyway, we still gonna get it out. But it's like he understands why. And he also knows that the real you. And even if your heart is dark, because then I start to peel back the layers, you know what I mean? I start to take it deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm like, interesting. Well, what about the people who like, their hearts are dark, right? Their hearts are dark. They reject God, stuff like that. He even loves them. Why is that? Because he understands what's going on. He can see, right? And when you can see, you can't judge, because judgment is only from not seeing. And it's crazy because I heard a caller called JLP show this morning talking about that. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I've been thinking about it. And when you see, you can't judge. So just know if we're judging, if I'm judging, just know that it's because of a lack of understanding, lack of insight. But even if your heart is dark, God doesn't judge, he understands. Because why? Because he knows the real you. He created the real you. He made you. He created the real you. It's kind of like parents raise their children from infancy to adulthood. But let's just say when they turn adults, they take a different path, right? They turn into let's just say, I'm making stuff up here. Let's just say they turn into murderer, right? Jeffrey Dahmer, right? But the parents knew all along from the very beginning who they really were. They knew that they weren't a killer. They knew that they were pure in heart when they were infants. They knew that, they were innocent, right? Because babies aren't pure. Babies are innocent, but they're not pure. But that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, but they knew that, the little kid means well. But to a person who just meets Jeffrey Dahmer, they got that type of judgment on, like, you murderer. We all do it. But God doesn't look at it that way. God looks at it as the infant. And he never stops looking at it that way, no matter where life takes you or no matter how much you reject him. And I got something for you guys right here. God also has grace and love for the devil. God also has grace for the devil. God also shows favor to the devil. God shows favor to evil and the devil. And all that encompasses it. And how do you know? Because he allows it. He gives room for the devil to exist, to be. But God also knows who the devil once was, because God created him. So God knows who the devil is. But because, and this is in my opinion, because God casted the devil away, right? The devil lost all spirit, meaning all the spirit within. So without the spirit within, what do you have left? You just have the flesh. You just have the nothingness. right? And you just have the ego. And in the ego, you can't see at all. So God knows the devil just can't see. I got my Trump hand right here. God knows he just can't see. So he's not holding it against him. He's not any of that. But with that being said, this is important too, is that God is still going to hold you accountable. So it's not like, well, God forgive you, God wash your sins away, God loves you and you're forgiven and, you know, all that stuff, not the real you. All that stuff is true, very true. But God's still going to hold you accountable. Because we are responsible for ourselves and the decisions we make. But he's still going to have grace towards us. Hold us accountable. And think about your life, your personal life. Think about how when you did something, and take the right and wrong out of it, right? But just when you did something, and in that moment, it wasn't proper. There was consequence, right? But it wasn't like you're cast away. So I'm grateful for the being held accountable, but I also see that his grace is still there with me. And it's the same for even the devil. So just think about that when you maybe judging somebody else or want to condemn them. Just remember that God even has grace for the devil. Because we want to point to everybody and say everybody is the devil, evil, and trust me, I do it. I understand it. Everybody's devil, evil, controlled by the devil, So then it's like, oh, okay, well then I'm justified for feeling how I feel about them. Because God would feel that way, right? That's the thought. But if you can just remember that God even has grace for the devil, which is the end of the spectrum, right? Because you got the devil and then you got the people controlled by, devil, human beings, and it's on a different scale, right? But if you could just remember that at the bottom of that scale, or on the other end, the devil was getting grace. So all the people in between here should also have grace, or is giving grace. So we must learn to do the same. And overcome and learn to be of love and recognize God's love and understand what it means. We must learn to do the same, because guilt, Lord have mercy, guilt is straight from the devil, right? Because it's a judgment. It's an opinion. And an opinion lacks understanding. And judgment is playing God. So anytime that we judge, just remember that it's playing God. And the sin, if we're using language, the sin is not the alcohol, porn, sex, drugs, shortcuts. The sin is the judgment about the alcohol and shortcuts. You know what I mean? As soon as you judge, so we're judging for people doing these acts, the vices, not realizing that our judgment is the sin. We're the sinner. I'm just using language. So I think that we just gotta just start putting things in perspective. What's going on here? You know what I mean? Nice. I hope that makes sense. I did want to play you guys again that, and then I'll get to a call. Lines are open 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773 if you want to get in there and you have something to say. Nugget Man says, so if the unborn killer is not judging, he's cool? I don't know what you mean. The unborn killer is not oh, I see. No, he's held accountable. But he doesn't have to feel any guilt about it. The deed is already done. That's a great question, actually, Nugget Man. So basically he's saying that if a killer kills people, but yet is not judging himself or judging the situation, he's fine. Yes. Spiritually. But there's consequences to it. Obviously, there's consequences. That come from the law of the land, but also of God. There's consequences to our action. And God holds us accountable. But that doesn't mean that he needs to feel guilt. Doesn't mean he needs to feel these things. Because why should he if that's not who he truly is? So a lot of people think that guilt is like you justifying yourself by feeling bad for what you've done. No, that's also ego. That ain't got nothing to do with God. What are you feeling bad for when it's already done? The damage is already done, for one. And for two, you enjoyed it. You know what I mean? You enjoyed it, which is why you did it. And when you did it, now you feel bad that you enjoyed it, but no, you enjoyed it. So let's just be real about it and just be like, you know what? I enjoyed it. You know, I wanted to. And there's an element also of just not knowing how to overcome. True. But there's, let's just be real about it. Yeah, I kind of like the ego. So that way we're not in denial and pretending like that's not true by feeling guilty and thinking that, oh, well, you know what I mean? That's just another judgment. Guilt is also another judgment. Dude, at some point you got to have morals. What the heck is this? I'm a Christian, so do what you want. We will see each other in heaven, bro. So weak. Stop being a doormat. Well, it don't sound like you're listening to what I'm saying, Nugget Man. It don't sound like you're understanding my point. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let me get to a call, and then we will go from there. Can you still have this no judgment mind state in the talent state? Tony, I don't know what that means. Can you still have this no judgment mind state in the, maybe he meant the fallen state? Well, if you mean the fallen state, if you recognize that you shouldn't have judgment, you're not in the fallen state. You're awake, you can see, right? You're spiritually awake. So in the fallen state, which is when your eyes are closed, you can't see that judgment is wrong and all that stuff because Your eyes are closed. But when you wake up to awareness and the light of God, then you start to see clear why judgment and emotions and all these things are not of God. So you can't know. You in the fallen state, you have judgment. That's why you're in the fallen state, you have judgment. And when you wake up, you can still judge people, but meaning like you'll still judge people, but you are aware of it. You're aware of your self-judgment. If that makes sense. Leon Chen with the super chat. The infant is innocent but not pure. Pure means flawless. Flaws only happen where there is zero change. Life is change. Every life form only exists through experience of change, aka impurity. Well, the reason why I say I understand what you're saying, Lin Yan Chin, is that pure is if you're perfect, if you're flawless. I understand that, and it's a great point. But the purity the reason why I say children are not pure is because a pureness of heart is set on set on doing the right thing, even when you don't. Like it means well. But children don't they're in an experimental stage, so they just explore, not for the sake of doing right, but for the sake of ignorance. So they're just trying things, doing things, and getting involved in things and playing with the ego and, enjoying it. And that's just growth, but it's not a pureness, but it's innocent because they're ignorant and they don't know what they do and they don't have no judgment about it. Right? But it's not very pure, in my opinion. And let me see. Lucky Larry said he sent the super chat. Lucky Larry. I don't know what that means, Lucky Larry. Terry's tires are hot doing burnouts in, I don't know, TBY. TBY. I don't know what that means. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Xavier said, Joel think he's so holy. How, Xavier? I'm reading the chat, people who don't know what I'm doing when I go quiet. But I'll get back to the show. Let me go to JC at a Little Rock. JC, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Joel. How you doing, sir?
All is well, JC. How are you?
It makes me worry when, like, there are times you and I agree on things. It makes me really worry because I'm like, wait a minute, we're on two different sides of the spectrum. But I do remember how devout of a Christian or how anointed of a Christian you are, and so you were saying some very good points. Like you're saying some very good points. It's when you said that, what about the devil? How God still basically has grace for the devil?
Yeah.
I used to feel the same way. Like before I started calling the Bond shows and stuff, and actually started interacting with the devil so much more.
Yeah.
I used to be one of the ones that would be like praying for the devil's redemption because I know the God that I serve, the times when I've messed up, he's forgiven me, and the devil is also one of his creations, and if the devil ever asks for forgiveness, I know the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God I serve would forgive the devil. Do you agree?
I'm not sure. That's a good point. I'm not sure exactly how that works specifically, but in the name of God being a forgiving God, and and me believing truly that He's of love, and that's His intention. Then, if that were the case in simple matters, I don't know how. I'm not too sure exactly how that will work for the devil and God. But in general, yeah, He's forgiving, and He's loving, and He does. He has the capacity to do that. But would He? I mean, I don't have that type of understanding or knowledge.
I mean, I know in Revelation it says the devil's going to be cast out in eternal damnation and hellfire. I know, but
Yeah.
I also know the Lord. If the devil ever actually wanted to repent, wanted to ask forgiveness and be in God's good graces, I believe that in my heart that the Lord, Jehovah Jireh, would forgive him. So,
Interesting.
but
Fair enough. But you had said, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your points.
I'm sorry. You can go ahead and say what you were saying. I made my point. You can say what you were about to say.
Oh, I was gonna say that because you said that we're on a different side of the spectrum, but we may be on the same side of a lot of different things, but maybe a specific thing like race or whatever, that kind of stuff, we may be different, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're on a different side of the spectrum, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I get that, but we see the world differently. I'm very much a liberal. I'm very much for celebrating blackness, celebrating my culture, celebrating all cultures,
Yeah.
celebrating so many different things, especially that last month. That was a very important month for me and stuff. So, there's things like that. But I digress. I was calling today. I think, first, let me say hello to CG83 in Instagram. I promised I would say hello to them on air.
Nice.
But I was calling about two things. The second thing I think that I was going to call about is, have you noticed on social media or anything, there's been so many missing children? I don't know if you've been noticing that, but just special prayers going out to those families having to deal with children being missing right now. I don't know what's going on with the world, but that's been very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any of that?
I've heard a little bit of that going on right now. There's a lot of missing children, and yeah, that's unfortunate. That's horrible. But that also comes into play with a lot of these these new laws and new restrictions from police and all that stuff that comes into play that people really don't realize. But yeah, that's a whole nother
Wait, what
conversation.
restrictions?
Well, I mean, there's been this push to defund the police and in LA specifically. I don't know what it's like over there in Arkansas, but over here, it's you rarely see police. And not that they're not there, but you rarely see them. You get away with a lot of stuff, and they're very few and far in between out here. And what that means, it keeps crime or at least justice more. What would you say? Or just people in general more vulnerable to crime. So I don't.
Okay. I'm technically, I'm not necessarily always trustworthy of the police. Being a black man, I'm not always going to feel safe around the police anymore. So I will call the police if I'm in need and everything.
Yeah.
I will be the first one. However, I'm also going to be weary when I'm around the police officer.
And why is that?
Well, you can't really trust the police as a black man, sir. You can't really trust the police. That might have been one of the reasons you didn't get hired. You might not realize it might have been discrimination.
Interesting. You know, do you?
Yes, sir.
Let me just ask really quick. Do you think it has to do with? You think that's a two-sided coin?
A two-sided coin? What do you mean?
Meaning like one side is maybe the police are not doing their job properly, but then on the other side, it's the citizen also not being right.
I mean, Derek Chauvin was a police officer. He was somebody that we were supposed to go to trust, to protect us and everything, and he ended up murdering George Floyd. So, there's just that example, and that's not the only example. There's been many examples for years, and sorry, my voice sounds like groggy or something, but there's been many examples for years. So whenever I'm around a police officer, even though it's never personally happened to me, I'm always going to be worried and weary that it could be my last day on earth if I'm around the police officer.
The only thing about what you're saying is that it's a preconceived idea of what might happen, and it's almost creating it, making it happen, because you're going into the situation as if you're about to be attacked, and then everything that the officer does is going to look like an attack because you already have this prejudgment about what the situation is going to be. And I don't think that's a proper way. And I think most people go about it that way. And maybe sometimes, I'll be honest, is that of course there's not good cops. Of course there's cops that don't do their job properly. That's for sure. But it doesn't justify people going into the situation with the wrong mindset, looking at the cop as the devil, and almost kind of preparing for something to happen. You know what I mean?
Would you trust a black cop or a white cop first? Which one would you trust?
I don't think of it like that. I don't think about white or black. I just go based off of what in the situation. I've been pulled over by white cops and black cops, but I've just always been respectful, and I dress decently. I have a clean haircut, so I don't look like a threat. I don't look like a ghetto guy. I don't talk loud, so I'm not a threat. And I think
but I saw that sort of yours. You was wearing your hat backwards. They could have easily said you were a gangster just because you wore your hat backwards.
But that's a good point. But even so, I haven't come across cops that are going to do that type of thing. I just don't think it exists. Let me tell you why. It's because nobody can create something from nothing. There's always there's always a reason why people do things. People, for example, like if I'm treating the cop respectfully and I don't react and I just give him my license, registration, or whatever, he has no reason to try to pick on me or try to be mean or try to do any of that stuff. It only comes about where, let's just say he's a bad cop, quote unquote, let's just say, and I do something that ignites that, like give him a dirty look or talk back to him, then that's grounds for him to be that way. And I feel like a lot of black people go into the situation already expecting for problems, so they got an attitude, they're disrespectful, or their hair is all long and crazy and nappy looking, and maybe they're not a bad person, but they fit the description, and cops go based off of that.
Fit the description. Do you think that you were just sort of stereotyping and judging certain black people how we wear our hair or whatnot? Yeah. Do you not find that to be in a judgmental way? What you was just saying?
I think that's a good prejudice to have towards people. I think that's a good thing. Let me tell you why. It's because if I see a person with hair looks crazy, they have really baggy clothes, then what does that tell me? I just go based off of what we already have seen, where crime and all this stuff has happened with people who fit that description. So of course I'm going to be leery about someone I see who fits that same description, and I'm not wrong for that.
Does it have to just be black people?
No.
To have those descriptions?
No, like if I see a white person doing the same thing, I would still be like, what is he up to? If a white person follow me with a hood on, but he doesn't, but he looks like a crazy person, I'm gonna be checking my back and making sure that he's not, running up on me. I think that's a
Right. And I
normal
ask
thing.
that because y'all be so quick to just say black people and stuff. Y'all be so quick. I heard on the Birthday Boy show, that liar, earlier today, how people was just being like talking horrible about black people and stuff. You want to just always pinpoint one race, talking about that there's like a bad race or something. It's bad in every single race.
It
It's
is
bad
bad.
in every single race.
You're
And
right.
that's horrible. So just stop pinpointing all of that and start like recognizing that there are evil people everywhere. That's like my main question that I was even going to ask for you if we still have like 2 or 3 more minutes of time.
No, yeah, we got time. Go ahead.
I think that is my main point. It's like, how do you love bad people? Because like, I could easily say like, yes, I'm a Christian and stuff, but I do have my limits. I see when people, I go back to the chats or when people talk bad about me, people that I've interacted with calling me crazy or wanting to call me my association with the rainbow, which I love all of that. I love all of that, but there's so many mean people who claim they're a Christian, and I'm supposed to like still love these people who say such horrible things, such horrible things about me as a person and as a Christian. I'm still supposed to love them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, and the answer is yes. We're still supposed to love them, and everybody falls short in that category. Everybody doesn't always love like they should, because the thing is, we don't realize that who said they're bad? We said they're bad. But since when do we get to play God and make a decision based off if somebody's bad or not? Yeah, we could be cautious and be aware of things that look dangerous or whatever the case is, but it's like, who says we don't know that person's heart? Only God
And
knows.
I guarantee you.
So, but that's a judgment though that you have against these people to make you think.
They got a judgment against me.
Right, but that's not your business though. That's their business.
They have a judgment against me because yes, I openly say I'm the opposition. I know I'm a villainous person when it comes to like this network and the way I'm seen as the villain, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. However, one thing, like I said, when I said I pray for the devil in the past and stuff, guarantee you, if you ask any of those audience members, like there would be a high percentage majority of them to say that they've never actually prayed for me, that they've never actually wanted to see good within me, and I could guarantee that.
That's a possibility, but that's also them judging. But it's both sides. Both sides having a judgment and having an opinion, and of course, all people do it, and that's not easy to not do. But we have to start being honest about it and recognize we're doing it, because everything you're telling me right now is you have this whole world view that's actually set up against yourself. You have this bad view of the cops, and that the cops are racist, and then you might lose your life. You have the bad view of the chat because they treat you all a certain way. But what it really sounds like is that you have all these things that are actually working against yourself. It has nothing to do with these other people. You're making it harder on yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to feel the fear. You're the one that has to feel the hate and the emotions that come with that, not them. So we might as well not, be hating people.
The truth is, though, like, if I wasn't given a reason to feel all of these things, I wouldn't feel them. But I have to be watchful of my surroundings and stuff. I have to. Yeah. I have to be watchful. What happened? Was that towards me? But okay. Yeah, I have to be watchful simply because, like, I've seen what it's like to be, a black man that's been attacked for being black, or a zesty man for being attacked for being a part of the rainbow community. I've seen that, like, maybe in the news, maybe whatever, but I've seen that. People always want to talk about, like, you get your information from the news and things like that makes you so dumb. Okay, things are being reported in real time, in reality, and everything, where else are we supposed to get our information from outside of our own point of view? Where else is a good choice but to see things from the news links and whatnot? So
you're saying that I don't get the point that you're making there. I missed it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Long story short, it's hard as a Christian sometimes to love your enemies when you know they don't love you back. Like, I mean, here's an example. A few weeks ago, when Asmodor passed away and stuff, I openly said that I know he's going to be looking up because he wasn't going to be mourning me. I openly said that in like a super chat and stuff, and I know I called a lot of heat and stuff off that because I am a Christian, but I know that man's not mourning me, so it's hard for me to mourn him, to love him, when I know he was one that has hatred for me.
I totally understand what you're saying, but it's like if we're supposed to be like God, we're supposed to be like Jesus. That's how Jesus looks at all people. Could you imagine Jesus said, "I don't love you, JC," or "I don't love you, Asmodor," or "I don't love you no more"? If it was based off a condition, no, that wouldn't be right. So we have to learn to reflect that same nature of God, don't you think?
God and Jesus, they are better men than me because I'm yet trying. But, like, there's a lot of people, like, I didn't used to hate people until, like, last year when I started calling into these
But are you
shows.
even open to it, though? Because it doesn't even seem like you're even open. It seems like you like being the enemy or the nemesis. Like, you enjoy that opposed to saying, like, how do I figure out how to love these people?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There have been times when I've had conversations with like with James and stuff, with like your boy James, especially last year, where I was like really going in on him when I was saying some horrible things towards him. And I'm like, what type of Christian am I?
Yeah.
What type of Christian am I? Like, this is a man of God. This is one of God's creations too.
Yeah.
So what type of man am I to be saying such horrible things? But then I turn on to his show the next day and I'll be like, and then I can like justify it because I feel like it's mean and evil. But it's like also there's too many times when I'm having these conversations, when I'm talking to people, saying that I hate them. And I'm like, what type of Christian am I? And I try to find myself praying for them, but then some people tell me not to pray for them. And stuff. I'm like, okay, so you know what? I've tried because I've prayed for everybody in this community.
Yeah,
I've prayed just for me to at least have an open heart, to be more open and accepting, to at least replace the hatred in my heart with love. I've tried and stuff, and that's why, like, even when James thinks I hate him, I strongly dislike him.
Yeah.
But I don't hate him per se. But
fair enough. Well, I'll just say to that really quick is that as long as you're doing like you just said you did, you realize you were going off on James and it wasn't right as a Christian, and you realized and you reflected on that and you said, what kind of Christian am I? As long as you keep that self-awareness and you don't throw that out, then you'll be then that's a good thing. But we just don't want to get caught up in like, you know what, I just don't like this, or I hate this person because they hate me. We don't want to get stuck there because then we stop growing. So as long as you're being aware and you recognize yourself when you get out of line or realize or just paying attention to yourself, then that's the best we can do. But I got some other calls here. Any last comments, JC, before I move the calls?
I thank you for your time, and I'm sincerely, at least this next week, going to try to pray for everybody, just to pray good thoughts for everybody, even like the Marks and the Haydens of the world. I'm going to try to pray good thoughts for everybody for at least a week, and I'll call back in 1 week and let you know.
I think the better bet is just to watch yourself and be honest with yourself and reflect on your behavior opposed to trying to pray for somebody else. Let other people deal with their own life. I say you go and just focus on yourself and try to understand what's really going on within you. You know what I mean? Because who cares about, James can worry about his own life. Everybody else can worry about their own life. I don't think praying for other people is on the top of the priority list for anybody. But
it should be. We're Christians.
Right, but we got to be.
Go.
Yeah, but we got to be right. And if we can't, how are we going to pray for somebody else to be right and we're all jacked up? And I'm including me.
You got any prayer requests? You got any prayer requests before I let you go?
No, I don't have any prayer requests, but
right.
I appreciate it, though, JC. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Enjoyed the
Bye-bye.
conversation. All right. So, let me get to these super chats real quick. Lin Yan Chin. While you read, the more you try to understand is the less you understand. Facts, Lin Yan Chin. Let go of wanting to know, and understanding will flow instead of that nervousness you think is hidden by fake laughter. Lin Yan Chin, if you ever said anything deep, you've said some deep stuff before, but anything that I can remember deep, that is it right there. When you try to understand, it's the less you understand. Let go of wanting to know, and understanding will flow instead of that nervous stuff. 100%. Let go of trying to follow God. Let go of trying to be God's number one. Let go of putting God on the pedestal. Let go of all of that. It's enough to just know that you want a better life. It's enough to just know that you want to overcome. We don't need to go put these extra effort in. We don't need to do all that because it ain't going to happen. So let go and let understanding come to you. God draws us in. You know what I'm saying? 100% Lin Yan Chin. He goes on to say the demon on the line. Lord, why you guys pick on JC so much? The demon on the line wants your attention in the wrong way. Lord, stop babying the thing. Lin Yan Chin, you went to deep to crazy. What was that next one? I can't even repeat it. What this is a spiritual battle. But I thank you, Lin Yan Chin. Appreciate it. Harmony, God loves you. God loves to cook. That's right. Right on, Harmony. Let God cook. Let God cook. Harmony is still my friend. And some of the ladies in the chat are still my friend. Except I don't think Jasmine's my friend no more. She got unmodded. I haven't seen her on my show since. I haven't seen her on my show since. She just wanted me for my mod status. Mod digger. Instead of a gold digger, it's a mod digger. She just wanted me for mod status. Anyway. CG says, I don't want whomever to pray for me. What the? Yeah, I understand. I totally understand what JC's talking about. And I understand what he means by wanting to pray for people because he believes that that's like a good deed. That's what makes a good Christian. No, it's not that it doesn't, right? But what's important is that we work on ourselves. We reflect on ourselves. Because we can pray, but it could be all in vain. It could be all just for the pursuit of, I'm being a good Christian, instead of just working on your own heart. You know what I'm saying? But I believe JC will find it. And he's gonna think, what makes you think that I haven't found it, Joel? He's gonna call me next time. I ain't saying that, JC. um. Anyway, let's move the calls. Let's keep the calls moving. By the way, I'll have you know, American Anchor Baby is not coming in at 12 unless he pulls a fast one on me and pops in here. But I think he's doing his show at 4 p.m. today. So what does that mean? Joel Friday TV, a little longer. You know what I'm saying? So let's take some calls and we'll see how it goes. I have a clip I want to play you guys with a little commentary, and then we'll kind of go from there. I also got to check to buy me a coffee, so don't let me forget. Let me go to Jaime out of Minnesota. Jaime, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
How's it going, Joel?
All is well, Jaime. How are you?
That's good. I'm doing well as well.
Nice.
Hey, so you remember that George Floyd and Derek Chauvin thing that happened?
Oh, yeah.
It was a few odd years back. Do you think that Derek Chauvin killed that guy?
You know, that's a good question.
Or do you think that guy died because of a drug overdose?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not too sure. What I will say is what I didn't like about the whole situation is that it was all about the bad, evil white man and not about George Floyd and his past and what he was doing and his involvement. It was nothing about that. It was so one-sided on the attack of the white man. And let's just say he was wrong in certain cases. Who knows? But it wasn't two-sided. It wasn't a both sides of the story type thing. It was just, this is the bad, evil man. And then Black Lives Matter and everybody else rolled that till the wheels fell off. And they were able to pass all kinds of things, make all kinds of money, and that was very wicked. The very wicked time.
I got a prayer request if JC is still accepting those.
What?
Prayer request for Derek Chauvin that when Trump gets in, he pardons him. So JC, if you could pray for that for me.
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I will say that what's unfortunate, hi man, you can let me know what you think. What's unfortunate is that Derek Chauvin would never have a regular life ever. He would never be able to step outside. And you can never say never, right? But hypothetically, he'll never have a regular life because he's hated by the world and people demonize him. And all based off of the narrative, not based off of whether he maybe have done certain things wrong, maybe he misstepped here and there, right? It's not based off of that. It's based off of that he's a bad, evil white man. And
well,
that's unfortunate.
I don't quite agree with, he won't have a regular life, but I don't think everybody hates him. There's a lot of people, especially in the rural areas of Minnesota, who think very highly of him.
You said, there's some people who respect
in rural Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Think very highly of him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and I'm sure there's some cops as well that understand his tactics.
Yeah, but his life won't be the same, especially since he got stabbed.
Yeah,
in prison.
That's another thing.
That for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor man's been traumatized for doing his job.
So what do you think about it? Do you think that he was completely just doing his job, or he was wrong at any point?
He was doing his job.
Fair enough.
It's a hard job.
So you don't think that his knee on the neck was like too forceful or too long?
In my own opinion, and I know that you were looking for that type of job yourself.
Yeah.
When I looked at George Floyd, he's a big man. You know, he's got really good genetics. He's very big, very strong, but also very erratic. And, Derek Chauvin, he's a tough-looking guy, but he needs to control the situation.
Yeah.
And he did the right thing.
Interesting.
What do you think?
You know, I know that cops...
Because that George Floyd, he's bigger than you. He was bigger than you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a tall man yourself, but he was thick.
Yeah, I can't tell. To be honest, if I'm being honest, when you first look at the video, it looked like excessive. It looked like, okay, this is too much. But when you step back and realize that what cops have to deal with and how often their life is also at risk, that they grow tired of trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it ends up turning back on them. So what I saw happen was him just being really, really, really tough about the situation. And from a regular bystander's point of view, it's just like, whoa. But we also don't know what these cops go through on a daily basis in the streets, in, dealing with people who are trying to kill them. There's no room for wondering if they're good or not, or if they're gonna do the right thing. No, you have to take the best precaution. But you also doesn't mean that Chauvin is perfect. I'm sure he still he gets emotional or gets angry. We don't know, but there's a possibility that that's the case too. So we just got to be open-minded about the whole situation.
If you'd seen the full video, I mean, you've seen how it escalated. Derek Chauvin matched his energy. He didn't just right away take him to the ground just by looking at him.
Yeah.
It was a step-by-step process.
I agree with that.
Cops said, hey, you need to stop, and George Floyd went off the rails, and you need to match that energy.
He did. I remember that too.
And if it's not like Mr. Chauvin would come up to you on the side of the road, because you're a well-dressed man and you respect the police, and he wouldn't treat you like he would have treated, or he did treat George Floyd, because you're two different people.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at your skin. He looks at the content of your character.
Yeah.
And the problem today with the blacks, and it is the blacks and some whites, is that they don't look at the content of people's character. They just look at the skin color.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I agree with that 100%. And at the end of the day, I always say too, is that if you act decently and you act properly and somebody else is treating you unfairly, then you'll be able to deal with it as you see. But it's not worth losing your life, risking your life, trying to stick your chest out and prove a point or whatever the case is. So it was in George's best interest to stay calm and just get in the car or whatever the case is. But he was very erratic. He was very all over the place. And he also had a history of, being on drugs and stuff like that. So Chauvin wasn't just picking on a man just to pick on him and decided he wanted to just take down a black man today. It wasn't like that. So, yeah, it's a mess.
And George Floyd, he didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance. He was done when he was born to that single mother.
Yeah, it's a mess.
And that mother destroyed him. And really, if they really want to go after the real person that did it, they should have gone after the mother.
Lock all the parents up. Nah.
Lock her up.
I appreciate it, Jaime. Man. I'm going to
have a good one.
Move the calls here, but thank you.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you as well. Lock all of them up. Mommy, daddy, sister, brother, everybody who was in that house, lock them up. Nah, I'm playing. Okay. Let me check. And I'm going to get back to the calls here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, thank you, Omid. as far as George Floyd thing, we don't know really what happened. Let me just make this clear. We don't know really exactly what happened. So all of it is alleged. So we want to make sure that we keep that in mind. It's all alleged. Allegedly. Gray Bridgewater says, watching you break up with Terry on yesterday's show had me dying. It was so nice I had to play it twice. Listen, it had to be done. You know what I mean? It had to be done. I love Terry, but it had to be done. You know what I mean? That's funny. Appreciate it, Gray Bridgewater, for the support. Okay. Let me see. Is there anything else? Lin Yan Chin was genuinely feeling harmonic resonance in an uncomfortable way. A terror in my DNA triggered by that not guy's forced vocal patterns of mama. Oh, he's talking about George Floyd. Yeah, it was just a weird situation that turned into like this agenda. And I'm telling you, so much stuff changed because of that. Like, off of, I don't gotta beat the horse, but yeah, it was a bad situation. Appreciate it, Lin Yan Chin. Mr. Pink said, Joel's like, it's not me, it's you. Well, I did get a tip from somebody. They're like, you should, I won't say who, but maybe that person was the serpent in my ear telling me, you should just da-da-da. And then Joel fell for it and knocked them all out, and it was unjust. Ooh, plot twist. I won't say who. Maybe I was deceived. Inside joke. Let's move the calls. Lin Yan Chin. I meant the caller. Oh, Lin Yan Chin was talking about JC. He was saying that JC, he doesn't like JC's voice. Don't say that. You're going to trigger him. Stop triggering JC. Amazing step. Let me go to, thank you, Lin Yan Chin. Surge out of Texas. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
All is well, Joel. How are you?
All is well, man.
Yo, I just wanted to say, I hope that you understand, like, how much, like, I appreciated you edifying me, man. We need that.
In the chat the other day.
Yeah. But just, like, continue to do that, man. But not just to me, like, to make sure, like, because I noticed, like, you're real beta with that. Like, you don't cut people off the phone. You don't hang up on nobody. You letting them get their points off. Stay strong, Joel. It's hard, especially with the women. You really suffer for that kind of play.
Well, I don't even. But go ahead, make your point.
No, that's it.
Oh, I don't even see it that way though. I don't even see it as if like, oh, I don't want to just hang up on them. I'm being too nice. I'm just doing based off of what I see to do. But in that moment when I had said something to you, I just saw that was just what I need to say. I wasn't thinking like, oh, let me just get him. It just was kind of just going with the flow. But I appreciate it. I'll keep that in mind though. But I'm glad that whatever I said was helpful. Were you reflecting on it and it just you realized that it was true, or what was the revelation on that?
Not reflecting. I just said I'm gonna watch because I
Okay.
disagreed immediately in my mind. So
Mm.
and then I said, you know what? We're gonna watch and see. We're gonna pay attention
Yeah.
for the neediness for attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know. And then one thought did come to mind. It's like, oh, you was a streamer. You were very popular. So it might have some truth. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna identify with that. I'm just gonna see.
Yeah.
Go about my day and see how I respond and be aware of that attention. And then I said to myself, yo, I said it all the time in the chat. Like, I know I'm getting a thrill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that. So he's basically right. So let's just accept that and continue to watch.
And continue to watch, man. And that's what we all need to do. Is exactly what you just did right there. It's just like, we don't got to take everybody's opinions and just believe them, but we just keep the ears open, let it go through one ear out the other, and just see if it makes sense. And you did exactly that. So we all should really be doing that. So right on,
yeah,
Serge.
And I noticed that you don't really correct. I don't know if you think that you don't have to or you shouldn't. Like, for example, I love JC. Like, good brother. I think he's, brings decent talking points that we need to look at. But you never ask him, like, I'm not telling you to be like Jesse.
Yeah.
Maybe I am. Like, you never ask him, yo, you doing a silent prayer? What do you think of the silent prayer? So you believe in hooping and hollering? That don't work. You never challenge him on any of that. You just kind of let him be. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, you gotta let people. This is what he believes. He has his opinions. He has his beliefs on things, and I'll pay attention. I'll pay attention to see if I should be different with it. But he has his belief on things, and I'm not gonna go in there and try to impose my beliefs on him. Like, I'll tell him how I feel, but he has the right to feel how he feels, and I'm just letting him express it because that's what he believes. And I could be wrong in what I'm saying to him. So that's just my perspective on it, is that I'm not trying to just be like trying to save him. I don't have no desire to try to save him.
Right. Not saving per se, but more so like the responsibility given to you by God to be. See, men, we have to like we can conversate. Like, I wouldn't tell JC wrong for what he believes or things like that, but I'll be like, yo, what about this? Like, I will bring up key things that you can clearly see that are related to him, and I will call him out on those things. And I think that you don't tend to call people out. You give me the vibes that you got friends that do things that you wouldn't otherwise do, and me, I don't believe in having friends that do things that I wouldn't do.
Oh, wait, what do you mean by having friends that do things? Give me an example.
Let's say you're not a pothead, but you got a friend that's a pothead.
Oh.
And you'll be like, yeah, well, that's just my friend. We just go out and do this. We don't smoke pot.
I see.
You would say that, and that I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't recommend men do that. I think they can love them from a distance and be like, yeah, well, that's JC, that's his life, but I ain't hanging out and doing all that with him. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know he needs to walk and see, and I'm not helping him, if that makes sense.
No, I get so you're saying that you wouldn't so if you know a pothead friend and you wouldn't associate yourself with them, you wouldn't hang out with them, you would keep yourself from him because that's not the type of lifestyle you live?
No, more so because it continues to help them go unconscious, and you're promoting it.
So would you talk to them when you say love him by a distance? What does that mean? Like, talk to him on the phone?
Yeah. That means, like, for me, like, if I was running your show, like, I would keep JC on a very limited. I would treat JC how, remember Jason in Buffalo, New York? I would let him call in, but I'd just be like, you're not working on yourself. You need to suffer. There's, like, no effort to try to work on self. And then those people take up your time, wasting your time. Not your show time. I'm talking about in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, if I don't take his calls or...
I didn't say not take it. I said treat
okay.
him like Jason from Buffalo, New York. I just answer the biblical question or, your thoughts on the topic, but, but keeping it very precise and not allowing the mama spirit to just linger.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Fair enough. Fair enough, Serge.
Yep.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you too.
Any last comments before I move the calls here?
Not at all. That'll be it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Later.
Nice. Let me think here. Let's see. I'm going to get back to the calls. Let me just get to the calls. Yeah. Let's go straight to the calls because calls are coming in. 888-775-3773. There are some lines open. I am going to go a little bit longer here so you can still get in if you want to talk. I got some time here. I'm not in a rush to end, but, we'll end if we have to. So you can call in 888-775-3773. Amazing stuff. Let's go to Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. Rick, welcome to the show. How's it going? Rick. Yo.
Them 410s were good.
Rick.
Joel, what's up, my brother?
How's it going, Rick?
Good, Joel, man. Just glad to hear you run your show. All you guys are doing great, man. Your
phone is messed up. All right.
Dang. Can you hear me now, Joel?
You're breaking up. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm just saying. Well, shoot, I be on a military base sometimes, and sometimes we have bad spots. So I apologize for the bad connectivity sometimes.
No worries.
Anyway, while I got you on here, man, just want to say, why do God love us? Yeah, a lot of times we don't realize God loves us. We've been nearly destroyed our lives and made a mess of things at our wits' end. Then we realize God loves us.
Yeah,
we just have to go through all that to realize that God loves us, man.
Yeah, that's true.
But we had to go through hell, 10 feet into hell, then come back out and destroy our lives some more, and then realize, oh, God do love us. But it shouldn't take that. When you agree, Joel?
I agree. I think that we get caught up in all the stress and the anxiety and the fear, and then for us to eventually get to a place where none of that stuff even existed or didn't even happen, and then we realize, oh, God does love me. You know what I mean? And you're right. It shouldn't have to get to that point. I agree.
We should know that time we come out the womb and get old enough to understand, how God to take care of our needs. Like, for example, here in Hampton, Virginia, it was so hot the last couple of days, man. I mean, like in the mid-90s. And then God just let it rain last night, brought some cool weather.
Nice.
That's really mercy on God. God just knew it was hot. He just brought some cool weather. Well, it's 85 degrees, but it's still nice. But it just lets you know, and if people stop trying to prove that they can figure God out, maybe they can have a better relationship with God. Stop trying to figure God out, because God is not going to allow no human to figure him out.
That's the truth. That's another good point. Yeah, trying to figure out his ways and
trying to figure out God. Talking about, well, I know this. That's why God, he give us just enough to have a prosperous life, which is the scriptures. And to be honest, the only thing God says to do is love him, love yourself, and love your neighbor. That's the whole Bible.
Yeah.
We can't even get that right, Joel.
We overcomplicate things. That's just crazy.
Yeah. God make it simple, but like you said, we overcomplicate it. Egos just don't want to do it anyway, and just make it complicated. Yeah.
I agree. It's out of control, but we just got to get back to it and be aware.
Right. Like even with President Trump, the Republican National Convention, I think tonight's the last night, and I think the reason why I think President Trump is having why the Republicans picked Wisconsin, because it's a battleground state. They don't need Wisconsin. Then you're not far from Detroit and Chicago, and I think they're using strategy. What do you think?
I missed that last part. You said what?
No, I was saying the Republicans having their convention in Milwaukee, and Jesse was saying he was against them having it in Milwaukee. But I think they're doing it for strategy because, they need Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which last year, the last election, I guess, just my opinion, they used the blacks to help steal Wisconsin for President Biden.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's a play in there. There's a play for sure to try to get the vote a little bit. But I do think that, I do agree that there's also you got to be careful because, if Wisconsin, they actually had to kill somebody outside of the RNC, and a black man that was yielding, allegedly, they killed the black guy that was the police killed the black guy that was yielding knives or something like that at the RNC. So we just gotta be careful with, especially right now with Trump being so exposed to these to people.
You think it should be that people should be able to see what's going on, man? They have been brainwashed by the media instead of seeing stuff through God's revelation. And then, it's like, for example, we know inflation out there. But the media always talk about, ain't no inflation out there. The economy is great. But God has told you that everything is high.
Yeah.
You don't need the media to tell you that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty evident.
It's pretty evident. But you're going to be the economy is at its best. It's been really booming.
Yeah.
But yet, they talk about inflation. Is it under control?
Yeah.
I said, what lens they looking through? And then, I said, I'm going by what I see, what's been revealed to me about the inflation. Gas is high.
Right. What's clear?
Homeowners insurance is high. Everything is high.
Well, Rick, let me ask you, do you think that people right now see clearly the differences between Trump and Joe? Do you think that the votes in this current climate that we live in with everything, whether it be the debate, whether it be the attempt assassination, do you think people are more so than ever now on Trump's side?
You know what? I see people like they trying to just wonder now, but as long as people rely on the media and not looking at what God reveals, I think they're going to still be in a diabetic coma. You see what I'm saying, Joel? It's like they're not looking at the world from a biblical perspective, and they only look at the world from what the media put out there to them. Most people hate Trump because of the media.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And and do you think that people
Biden helps out?
And do you think that people do, even though they see all this stuff going on, they're just blinded by their ways. They're just stuck in their ways. So even though they see what's going on, they're not going to change it.
Right. Exactly. Good examples like the border. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris said the border is nice and comfortable. What we see is out of control. God has revealed to us that the border is out of control.
Yeah. And also to make your point too is that the media has so much slander against Trump that people are just caught up in the media, and a lot of people just don't. They see what's going on with Joe Biden, but they just hate Trump, so they'll stick with Joe Biden, to prevent Trump from getting in.
That's because the media has put that out. All your media, the mainstream media, and thank God for Fox, man, because we wouldn't have another voice. At least out of all the media, you have CBS, ABC, MSNBC, CNN, all of them say, hey, you don't be for this, you are whatever, vote this way, and that's it. But at least Fox say, hey, here's the topic, this is how we feel.
Yeah.
But hey, you decide. You
make your own decision. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly. That's what I like about Fox. But other than that, the liberal news, here's what's going on, and you better feel the same.
Yep. It's crazy. We'll see what happens November 5th.
Well, it's interesting, man. I mean, I hope President Trump wins so bad that Biden loses his own state. That's how bad I want him to lose.
You say that again? I missed it.
I was saying I hope that President Trump wins by a landslide, that even Biden loses his own home state.
Yeah.
That's how I want him to lose. That bad.
Kick his butt.
A lot of these policies are his. And guess where their convention going to be at there, Joel?
Who?
The Democratic convention. Guess where their convention going to be at?
Oh, where is that? Where?
It's going to be in Chicago, where they're having all the immigration problems.
Wow.
And they should go. And I'm not saying protest. Let them know that we're not happy with the policies that y'all have brought to Chicago. You know.
Sorry, Rick. Say that again. I was looking at the chat.
I was saying like when the Democrats have their convention in Chicago.
Yeah.
And the residents should tell the Democratic Party, we're not happy with your policy. Right there.
Yeah, I know. That's what they should do, is say right there, hey, we don't like that. How this is going yet. But we'll see if that actually happens.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. But I appreciate it, Rick. I gotta.
No problem,
keep it
Joel.
going.
Hey, love you, man. Love your show, man. You, Nick, James, Jesse. Y'all keep the good work going, man, because y'all really give us another alternative to look at things, man.
Right on.
Besides most of urban radio telling you to look at your skin color and be a victim all the time.
Right.
Y'all give people hope, man. I like that all about y'all, man. Like I said, from Jesse, from James, yourself, Nick, and the rest of you guys, y'all really say, hey, whatever you want, go get it, But the urban radio, when people listen to urban radio, all they can do is make you a victim.
Right.
So
think for yourself, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Rick, and you've been tuning in probably before I was even here at Bond, so we appreciate the loyalty that you've showed to your support and commitment to the Bond Network. So we appreciate you too,
absolutely.
Rick.
Hey, love you guys, man, and keep up the good work there, Joel. Y'all be blessed, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Nice. Right on. Lin Yen Ching, caller sounds like Uncle Ruckus, and he just finished saying how God should have made us at one with him from birth. Only blacks correct God like that. Mess and God like that mess. And you agreed. How God should have made us at one with him from birth. Caller sounds like, and he just finished saying how God should have made us one with him from birth. I don't get it. But don't you agree that God made us one with him? That we are God's nature? We reflect God's spirit? So I agree with that. What the? I think that's what you're saying, right, ladies and gentlemen? I appreciate, though, the super chat. And he also says overtime pay. Jessica, we can learn something from the last two Joel shows he has. If judgment and words of others affect you, it's something wrong with yourself to pay attention to. The last thing the ego wants is true freedom. Jessica paying attention. Jessica watching the show. All you got all in the chat, just in the chat playing. Jessica playing and watching. Right on, Jessica. I appreciate it. Exactly. And no, Nugget Man, I don't hate you. But you be tripping sometimes. You be tripping. Kale Samogi says, amazing, with the super chat. And for those on the other platforms, a super chat is what I receive on YouTube, and it's a donation with a message. So when I'm reading, for the most part, sometimes I read comments, but it's super chats with donations attached to it. So if you want to do the same and you want me to read your question or comment live on air, or you just want to get in on the topic, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV or hop into the YouTube chat, hit the super chat button, and send your question or comments right there. My voice is on like a last thread, but we're gonna make it happen. I just want to show you guys this real quick because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't even know what to do. I had to show you. You guys already heard it, but I want to play it again because where is this type of music at? Where is this?
Yes, sir. Oh. I'm not going to have a conversation with these.
What the heck? How did that happen? Hold on.
Yes, sir. Oh. Yes, you are. We praise you, Lord. Yes, sir. Hey. Hey. We praise you. We
Oh
yes,
my.
sir.
That's too good.
Hey. Oh. Hey. Yes, sir. Hey.
That is just too good. I literally, not even gonna lie, had my Instagram open, because I found that on Instagram, plugged it up to my speaker in my house and let it replay for like 30 minutes. Praising Jesus. That is just so good. And there ain't no beat. It ain't nothing to it. That is real music to me. Maybe this is just my taste, but I feel like, and then I'm going to end the show, but I want to make last comments here about this. All music should be about worship. I'm not saying that it has to be corny and make you emotional. I'm not saying it has to be all like that, but all music should reflect worship. It should point to God. Because I realize there are certain songs or certain, like stuff like that, or if it's real, that it feeds the right thing, right? It can awaken the spirit. And if it's right and it's real, and I think that all music should give worship in general. And I love music. I love the other stuff, the secular stuff too, right? But all the secular stuff is just about like glorifying self, right? And then you feel good about it. And I'm not saying stop listening to it and like be like this weird person. But I'm just saying that like it's two different listening experiences. And we need that type of music back. And I wish that all music was like that. I wish that I could find good music like that. But nobody's making it. You know what I mean? Like even the Christian artists, there's a few Christian artists that I listen to that are like, they're pretty decent. And I like them. But for the most part, Christian music, it ain't it. And I wish it was. Because there's just a different type of intention. And it's coming from a dancer, right? To where 12, 13 years of my life was dedicated to creating routines and choreography to teach classes or to perform or whatever. And when you're doing it, a big part of dance is the connection. You got to be able to connect. And if you're waking up, it's a lot harder to connect to the other stuff. But when you come across a song like that, a singer like that, and you can just play it for 30 minutes and just be vibing out. Literally, that song shaped my whole show today. That whole song shaped my whole show. And it didn't have no word. All he said was Yeshua, but it didn't have no words. But all of my topic just was a reflection of that. So, I'm gonna play that one more time for you guys. And then I'm gonna end.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, you are. We praise you, Lord. Yes, sir. Hey. Hey. We praise you. We honor you. Yes, sir. Hey. Oh. Hey. Yes, sir. Hey.
So good. So good. What the? And they don't got no things. They ain't got no fancy cars, no fancy house, they ain't rich. But they can sing. You know what I mean? They can worship. Amazing stuff. Come on. I gotta go, y'all. I'm gonna end there, or else I'm gonna have no voice. So I gotta end. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, American Anchor Baby is coming in at 4 p.m. today, streaming. So make sure you guys check him out at 4 p.m. Follow the network across the board, Punchy TV, on YouTube and Instagram. Make sure you guys go follow and subscribe. Also check out punchy.tv, which is our own website / network, to where you can stream all the shows from there directly, and it's ours. You know what I mean? It is ours. So make sure you guys go check that out and all that good stuff. Subscribe to share. Joel Friday TV, IG, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Show some love and all that good stuff. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the Snake Pit and the Lion's Den. Shout out to all the mods. And shout out to all my ex-mods. I still love. See, that's real love. You know how you break up with somebody and they're your ex, but you hate them? That's not how I feel about my ex-mods. I love my ex-mods. They gonna stay ex. We ain't getting back together, but I still love you. Anyway, until next time, y'all gotta go. Have fun. Have a good weekend. I'm not here tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday. Peace out.